Hello, hello, hello. It is Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. I get to go live and talk to you all, my beautiful people. It is December 7th. Can you guys believe it's December already? Like, I can't believe that's even happened. 3 weeks and it's going to be into Christmas. Like, just totally crazy. Tonight's topic is very special to me. It's where I came from. I don't know if I've actually told this story yet. But I started cleaning houses when I was a single parent. And tonight I wanted to talk to you all about that, tell you my story, tell you where I came from, why I did it, and how I scaled the company to $1 million cleaning business. So I'm as real as it gets. So I'm going to tell my really cool story on my topic for tonight. So for those of you that don't know me and you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Cheryl Hager. I own Sisters Who Scale, and I launched my coaching company because I saw a need in this field. So I saw while there are a lot of coaches and consultants to choose from, I didn't see anyone that really resonated with me when I needed the help, right? So I chose to start my own. And there are a lot of service industry owners out there who might share a similar story as I do. Maybe you're a single parent at one time and really need day-to-day help with their businesses. So I like to be really authentic. I'm very real. I tell it like it is. I tell the real stories because I believe there is magic in the real stories. So of how all of us got here. We all have a story, okay? And more importantly, where you can go if you believe in yourself or you're willing to roll up the sleeves and commit to doing the work. So I also own Made Bright. It's a residential, commercial, and power wash and cleaning company. I was able to go from zero to 650 a year and growing. I did it in 3.5 years, working about 20 hours a week. The best thing about this is I did it during a pandemic. So if anyone who survived the pandemic, we know what that feels like. Um, we did it in the middle of a pandemic. We stayed open and we worked. We were gutsy, we were scrappy, and we kept going. So what do I teach? I teach how to use leverage systems, knowing how to hire, everything from writing an ad to company culture, retaining employees, attracting employees, retaining employees, how to connect with your best customer, have a high closing ratio, and how to beat out your competition. That's what I help my clients with. So this stuff was all going on, back up, this stuff was all going on during the pandemic, right? Was when other cleaning companies were closing around me, we were growing and we were able to take over market share. So you're always going to have competition. You just need to know how to be persistent enough to create that value and provide the most outstanding customer service to keep clients. And that's one of the many things that I do teach as a coach. So let's dive into my story. Seems like yesterday, and how I got here. So I was a single parent when my son was 3 months old. My son Dylan was 3 months old. I had left his father because of infidelity, and I knew it was never going to change. So I chose to leave when my son was still in diapers, 3 months old. I had sold my condo like a dummy and moved in with him. But that lasted only about 3 months when he started not coming home at night. And I knew he was going out on me. Well, I was at the house living, we were living with his mother and at the same time. And I was staying up feeding a baby while he's out gallivanting. So I realized here that if I didn't change my life, if I didn't make those choices, my life would never change. So that was the aha moment for me. Almost like God was talking to me and guiding me in a crazy way, right? He was talking to me at this moment, and he was telling me that somehow in the midst of all this chaos, I was going to be okay. My son was going to be okay. And that this little baby that I had brought into this world was going to be okay. And I needed to trust in him and make this journey. Although I had absolutely no idea at this point what I was going to do for money. I was doing a little real estate, but nothing crazy, right? Previously, I was also cocktail waitressing, but I was cocktail waitressing at night to make the money. So I obviously couldn't do that anymore because now I had a completely different life. I had an infant to take care of. So my life in a matter of months did a complete 360. Okay. So how did I get into cleaning? So I had picked up some hours with my friend that had her own cleaning company years prior. Or maybe not years prior, but like a few years prior. And she was paying me like $10 an hour, and it was like crazy, right? Um, compared to what I look like where we are today. So I was like, all right, I can make way more money doing this on my own. So even back then, I had an entrepreneurial spirit. So I stayed. I worked a summer with her. I learned the trade of cleaning. I learned how to do it, how to price it, all that stuff. And this was before I had my son. So I was working with her for some extra money over the summer. So, and now in today's inflation, I think $10 buys 2 coffees, maybe a package of bacon. Definitely not sustainable, but it was a long time ago when I did that. So at this point, my son, oh, now we're fast forwarding. So my son had a daycare schedule. He needed to be picked up before 5, and I needed a job that was going to pay me a livable wage. And most 9 to 5 jobs, unless you're in some type of corporate C-suite level, don't really pay you a livable wage. And there's still a pay gap. There was still a pay gap then, just like there is now, between men and women. So I was up against that as well. If I went and served lunch somewhere, like waitress, that didn't pay enough either because the lunch shifts were like wonky. Sometimes you make money, sometimes you don't make money. So at this point, I was staying with my friend Carrie with my son. I was sleeping on the couch while my son was in the room, in the extra bedroom, and my friend Carrie was also pregnant and also about to become a single mother. So it was a very interesting time. And I was doing the best I could to try and get rest, take care of a baby, and try and find a job. So that's all what was going on. So back to the cleaning. So keep that in the back of your mind. So I said to myself, maybe I should try and get a few cleaning jobs. I knew how to clean. I knew how to set my own wage and be able to do the jobs on my time. So I could drop my son off. I could go to a couple of jobs and then come back and pick him up before 5 o'clock at the daycare, which was right down the street from where I was living at the time. So I placed an ad in one of the local papers and I got my first estimate. Exciting, right? So I went to the house. I had no company name, or I might have had a name, but I wasn't established. No company t-shirts, nothing prepared, no paperwork, no service agreements, no branding like I have now, nothing like it looks today. And I basically was being interviewed by them. So this is a total role reversal than what I see today when I go out and do the estimate. So they obviously wanted to see if I was trustworthy to let in their house to clean. Total role reversal, like I said. Today, I interview clients to make sure they're a good fit for our company and our staff. So it looks totally different. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the self-esteem. And I didn't have the belief in myself that I do today. So I had to build the belief in myself and my abilities. So these were skills I had to acquire and grow over time. This doesn't happen overnight. So needless to say, I got the job. I started to clean for this lovely, lovely couple. My price was way under what it should have been. When you're a solo cleaning, sometimes you'll sacrifice price just to get the job, even though this is the wrong thing to do. But most of us have done this before. This is normal. We don't charge what we're worth. I used to not charge what I was worth, and I used to get abused, just like some of you have probably experienced already. So let me tell a story. I love stories. I remember one time I showed up at a client's house and there were sticky notes on all of the blinds, the plastic blinds, not the good wooden blinds, the plastic cheapo blinds, right? And there's stickies all over the door handles. I think the woman was a little crazy. But we've all had clients like that, right? So you know that the plastic blinds are almost impossible to clean. So like you would have to take them off and soak them in the tub. And I'm not about to do that. They're awful. So this would have taken me probably another 2 hours. And I was so offended. And I remember feeling so demeaned that I didn't do it. I was like, I'm not doing that. So I messaged her and told her I could do it next time, but there would be an extra charge for it. Of course, she never had me do it because she was looking for free stuff, right? She was looking for me to do a lot more extra work for the same price. So it was at this point when I learned how to start setting parameters that everything started to change for me. So I learned how to make an extra list of items when I charge, and all that stuff I teach is in my program. How to price everything correctly, how to price add-ons, all because of this situation. This lady pissed me off, right? She just made me feel like a second-class citizen. I didn't like it. So women have a real problem sometimes with pricing too low and not charging what they're worth. Women have servant hearts, so we by nature just want to help people. So it's also one of the reasons why that pay gap is still happening. It's common knowledge that men have no problem tooting their own horn and interviewing, applying for a job when they may not be 100% qualified, or whatever, or they may be overqualified. So when you hear things like this, you might understand that there's always a variable in this statistic regarding the pay gap. Women on average don't tend to think they're worthy of achieving certain things. They tend to doubt themselves and doubt their abilities, hence where sometimes the lower pay for the same job comes in. They don't ask for it, okay? So back to the story. So I had my first residential biweekly job. It was successful, and I kept on, adding a job here, a job there. I still don't have any paperwork yet. And I kept moving. I kept going. I worked a lot for cash back then. I did one-off jobs. I did deep cleans, apartment turnovers. Those were horrible. We'd never do those again. Don't do them. They were so dirty, so gross. And what was different back then is the complex would set the price and I would just take the job. I'd be like, yep, $85, I'll take it. So I was not in control of the scenario at all. They were all dictating the price to me. So cleaned all these apartments by myself, and when this big investor guy who owned all these apartments decided to pay me, I would get paid. Now that doesn't happen anymore, okay? But it did back then. So I would sometimes wait 2 months to get paid. And as you've guessed it, I had done a string of apartment turnovers, and the last time he never paid me for my work. I chased him, I sent invoices, and nothing. Never paid me. So this infuriated me. I was beyond pissed off at this point. This infuriated me. I wasn't in control of this at all. I was treated like a slave. Honestly, when I look back, I was just treated like a slave. So I started learning really quickly after being abused that I had to take control of the clients and the pricing, or they were going to take over me. So, and that wasn't going to happen. So have any of you experienced this? If you have ever felt like this before, like a client was treating you as a slave in their house, type me. I just want to know if I'm not alone. I don't think I'm alone. Type me in the chat box. I just want to kind of get a raise of hands, right? Because I really want to know if this has happened to other people before. So this is how my journey started as a solo cleaner. I was a single mother raising a child. I was a solo cleaner. It wasn't glamorous. I had some hard lessons to learn, for sure. But this is where the magic is. So your toughness as a business owner is built out of experiences like this. When people stiff you and don't pay you, you learn. When people want you to work and do extra things for the same amount of money, you learn. When people cancel their service on you last minute and you were depending on that money to come in, like that single mother right here, to pay your bills and feed your child, and there are no repercussions for them, you learn. Like, once you feel that sting, you're not going to let that keep happening to you. There is no reason why any of that needs to keep happening to you, because it is your business. not their business. It is your business. So you dictate how you teach them how to treat you. So you set the rules, and if you allow stuff to happen, it's your fault. It's not their fault. It's your fault for allowing them to treat you that way. So all these experiences led me to take control, to get mad because I didn't want to be treated like this anymore. I had a child to feed, to raise by myself. There was no room for this kind of shenanigans going on in my business. And I was at a point in my life where if I didn't learn how to provide for myself and my child, we weren't going to eat. Like we were going to have some problems. So I had to change things. I had no choice. I had to change them, and I changed them quickly. And you all need to realize this as you sit here. I am just like you. We all share the same experiences in life. I didn't get to where I am today because I didn't have hard times, because everything was easy for me. Hard times built my business. My business was built from having to stop getting taken advantage of and turn the tables. So what exactly do you say, okay, what exactly built my business? So what are some of the strategies I developed along the way? What were there certain characteristics that I may have developed to get to a place where I am today? So I will let you know a few of them. But I want you to know before I tell you is that you all can do this. If I can create this business and be where I am today, so can you. You just need to be willing to go through the hard. Everything in life is hard. Everything good in life is hard. So choose your heart. So being broke and not being able to feed your child is hard. Dealing with a bunch of clients that want to control the show is hard, but you're making money. Which one would you rather have? Everything in life is going to be hard. You just need to pick your heart and just get over it. So you almost kind of have to think of like, if you expect the worst case scenario for everything and everything is better, then you'll never be disappointed because you'll always have gratitude that it wasn't as bad as it was before, right? So the number one thing you need to develop is the belief in yourself. The belief in yourself that you can do this. Now, sometimes this belief in yourself builds out of a necessity, like it did for me. I had no choice. I had no choice, but I had to build this. I had to figure out how the heck I was going to make an income and raise a child as a single mother. You have to be your own advocate for yourself. You have to trust yourself and believe that you can do it. Otherwise, it's never going to happen for you. It's not going to happen. Know your potential and what you're good at and focus on doing what you have a talent in or what you love. Because if you love it, it's never going to feel like work. Of course it's going to be aggravating. Nothing is smooth sailing. Hiring, firing, retaining employees, right? It's work. But you have to just develop the skills to figure it out. Because other people have figured it out. You can figure it out too. There's probably something you're doing you don't know you're doing. And you just can figure it out. So another thing I like to do every single day is eliminate as much negativity and negative energy as possible around me to keep that positive energy flowing. Because if you're constantly dealing in the muck and staying in the negative energy, you're just not going to feel good, and you're not going to be able to manifest and bring good stuff to you, right? Part of that is surrounding yourself with the right people. We all know when we surround ourselves with the wrong people, we make the wrong choices. We all know this. So surrounding yourself with successful people, networking with people that are business entrepreneurs that are actually doing better than you will naturally improve your outlook and make you want to be more like them. I want to act like them because I want to have what they have, right? You have to face your fears. This is another huge one because getting uncomfortable is the best way, actually in the only way to push yourself to grow. You have to muster up that courage to do the things and to make those hard decisions that you wouldn't have necessarily done before. So you will not grow without becoming uncomfortable. You know that expression, you feel the fear and do it anyways? This is what I'm talking about. You have to, you're not going to grow if you don't get uncomfortable. If you don't get burned, you're not going to grow. My nose is itchy for some reason. You're not going to grow. You're not going to get comfortable, okay? You have to also find your gratitude. This is so important. I wake up every day in the morning before everyone's up because it's so quiet and I get to concentrate and work and do my stuff and think. And I thank God every day for everything I have. I wake up around 5, I get my coffee, I sit in my comfortable chair, and I focus on what I am grateful for every day. I'm grateful that my son is healthy. I'm grateful I get to see the ocean in the summers. I see the beauty in the ocean. I also am grateful that I was strong enough to get myself out of the field and not clean anymore. I don't clean anymore, period. I don't pick up a broom. Negative. Why? Because I made that choice to do that. That was a direct, okay, Cheryl's getting out of the field for good. I see the beauty in that. I love that. I see the beauty in my first cup of coffee of the day. It can be anything really. Like, what are you grateful for? I'm grateful for coffee, the ocean, my son being healthy, and I'm grateful for not being in the field anymore and cleaning and running my business. That's what I'm grateful for. That's what I'm grateful for. Another thing besides a belief in yourself is you need to persevere. You need to develop perseverance. Now, why is this so important? Because when the tough times come, and they will come, you can breeze through them easier, right? They're gonna, once you do them over and over and over, you're much more prepared and you're better equipped to handle these tough times. So think back to a time in your life when it was hard, like me, raising a child, being an infant, not knowing what I'm doing for money, selling my condo, living out of a storage bin. I mean, it was just crazy, the stuff that I went through, right? I made it through that. Think of a time in your life that was hard and think of how you made it through it. It passed. You came out on the other side. And I'm sure you came out stronger and for the better of it, right? So that's the second one, is perseverance. The next one is learn to charge what you're worth. This is where I see many women, and sometimes men, but more women. I see many women struggle with this. And this can come from past childhood trauma, feelings of not feeling good enough or worthy to receive, or this comes through in not willing to invest in yourself. So when you want to better your business and develop skills, you have to invest in other people or programs or education. You have to invest in education you're actually investing in yourself. And a lot of women will struggle with this and say, oh, they're going to put everything else first. They're going to put the bills first, the family first, the this, the that, the other thing. What about putting yourself first, investing in yourself so you can actually go out and make more money that's better for your family? What about that? Rachel is saying you lived in a storage bin. Rachel, I was at my ex's house. I'll tell you, I was at my ex's house. I sold my condo like a dummy. Living in the ex's house, all my stuff was in storage. So my furniture was in storage bins, and then I had like one of those storage bins from Walmart you buy, and it had all my clothes in it, and all my clothes, they weren't even in bureaus. So I have pictures. I had an infant with me, and all my clothes are in storage bins, and I would live out of putting those clothes on all the day. Yeah, my life was very. I don't actually know the Rachel that I actually told you that story, but very tough time in my life. No, I didn't live in a storage unit like with a bed. That's hilarious. Though it may have sounded like that, but that's not really what that's not really what happened. So, getting back, Cheryl did not live in a storage bin. She was living out of a storage bin, taking out her clothes and putting them on, and that my clothes were not in a bureau, and I was just completely disheveled and feeding baby at 2 a.m. in the morning while my ex was not home because he was out with, the flavor of the month, right? So that's what was going on. No, Rachel, I think I said it wrong. So getting back to this, so learning how to charge what you're worth. So I see a lot of women struggle with this. So this comes from childhood trauma, feelings of not being good enough to actually receive. So you need to remember that when you don't feel good enough about yourself, you're just going to allow yourself to get walked on. And this can be a total struggle. And you have to remember you're charging for a service. Okay? So you own a company. You're not in the business of giving free stuff out, right? So check to see what your competitors are charging if you're unsure about your rates, and raise your rates. Everyone is raising rates. We do a rate increase every year. We had someone yesterday that we were raising her $10. She was underpriced as it is, beat me down on price last year. I was nice because it was a referral of a friend, and then we went up $10, and she said, I feel like I'm already paying a fair rate. If you insist on charging me an extra $10 per cleaning, I will go somewhere else. You know what I did? I shut the job down. This is my business. This isn't your business. You go clean the house. I'm not doing it. It was already underpriced, and didn't feel that, thought that it was overpriced and wasn't going to pay. And so for 10 lousy dollars, she needs to either clean it herself or go out into the world of, you don't know who you're getting when you hire a cleaning company. I didn't bend. I'm not going to bend. Those days are over. So anyways, that was then. This is now. Your next one and your last one is resilience to change. So crisis intervention. There's always going to be crisis. There's always going to be stuff. There's always going to be fires you have to put out. A crisis. It's all how you kind of look at it. So if you look at something like a crisis, it's going to feel like a crisis. But if you look at it as like just another day in the office, there's a problem I have to fix. Let's find a solution and let's just move on. So instead of going on the roller coaster, you're just going like this. You're going to feel so much better about making decisions, right? So you need to learn how to be a great problem solver. This comes over time. The more problems you solve on a daily basis, the easier it is going to be for you. So you need to have the willingness to do whatever it takes to learn the skills of hiring, of selling, of branding your business, of implementing systems in your business, cash flow, all these things that are gonna contribute to you being successful. I was so hell-bent on making it work, I didn't give myself another option. So I didn't say, oh, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to go do this. Or I'm going to go back to waitressing. Or I'm going to do this. I was just like, no, there's no plan B. I said, plan A, I'm going to make this work. I am going to make this work. Plan A, it was going to work. So, and this is the difference, I said to myself. This was going to work. And I didn't give myself other choices. So if any of you have the same or have had a similar struggle, or maybe you went through a divorce and came out on the other side broke, right? Broke from the divorce, or your husband charged the credit cards up, or some crazy stuff like that. This can also feel like this, not knowing what to do. I know a lot of women that went through divorces that started cleaning businesses, right? So we are more similar than we are different. But I wanted to share that story with you tonight because I thought it was super important. Some of you may sit there and look at me and say, oh, well, she's got it all. She's this, she's that, blah, blah, blah. Didn't start out that way, ladies. Didn't start out that way. So I hope you enjoyed this. I would love to hear if anyone else has had a story like that. If you're willing to put it out, in the chat. I know there's chats now, as far as like you can like write like inside of the chat as far as each training is concerned, or if you're comfortable, put it on the front page. Tell me what has happened in your life, your struggles that led you to open up any type of service industry business, a cleaning company, or whatever it was. What led you to do that, and how were you better for it? I would love to hear from some of you. We're at just about 200 members now, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. There's more of us out there than you think. So I'm gonna pop off. Thank you so much for joining. If you weren't able to catch it live, catch it on the replay. You can still make comments and tell me what your struggle was like. I would love to hear it. I hope you all have an awesome evening, and I will see you all soon. All right, bye bye.